Hi, everyone. Welcome to Open Class number 21.
Hey everybody, great to be here. Great to see you, Daniel.
I'm laughing so much because, behind the scenes here, me and Michael playing around with the software, and Michael is just like, so wait, I can go live too? And just like, Michael hit the go live button, and it was just funny.
I know, it's funny. It's like, what can you do? What can I do? Oh, we can do the
Yeah.
same thing. Oh my gosh. So we're just figuring it out. It's like, mostly I'm figuring it out. Like, Daniel understands most of this stuff better than I do. So yeah, I think we're good. We got a good broadcast today. It's going to be great.
Yeah, we have actually just two questions, but which is the good thing here is we can, there's some specific things I want to talk about, so we can go into more detail. And drum roll.
Yep.
Our self-coaching program is live.
Hey, all right. That's awesome.
So for anyone out there who we've been talking about this for a while, but actually as of today, everything is set up and you can now become a member of the Sleep Coach School, where you will have more access to me, Coach Michael. You will have a laid out curriculum. It will take you from, you will be shown exactly where to go. Like we first module do this, second one do this, etc. So I think it'll be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm super excited. That's going to be great.
And just a couple of thoughts here on why I think it's going to be good. One is, and firstly, I want to say, everyone who knows us knows that we put all our best stuff is for free. Like, we share everything here. So for a lot of people, you don't need this membership. You just need to tune in for Open Class.
Yep.
Watch our free videos here. Perfect. But I know that for a lot of people, it is difficult to get to a place where you sleep really well without a little bit more support, a little bit more guidance, etc. So of course, that's why we have the membership program, right?
Yep.
But now what I think is, as far as I know, is completely unique is that there are many courses. There are many, this is a 4-week course, a 6-week course, an 8-week course, but this is not a course. This is a membership, which
Right.
of course has the benefit that we can charge less for it, because we don't have to make a lump sum. We can, you can stay with us for a month or 2 months, which is always good. But more importantly, there's not that pressure. It's not like, oh, in 6 weeks, I have to sleep well. Otherwise, what's going to happen? There is not that time pressure, which is great.
Exactly.
And also, last thing I want to share is that, with a traditional, when you see a therapist one-on-one, well, it's nice because you have that kind of intimate connection and you can really think that's good. But the problem becomes that, all the teaching is one-on-one. It becomes very hard to help more than one person. And there's a lot of missed opportunity, because when you are teaching somebody, you are also a little bit of a student. So when somebody shares a comment here on this channel, they are actually teaching others. So I think what I enjoy here is that, I'm kind of maybe 90% a teacher, but I'm 10% a student. And when you join us as a member, you are going to be maybe, let's say, 80% a student, but you're going to be 20% a teacher too. So when you ask a question in our live dropping classes, or when you drop one in Slack, in our Slack forum, you're not only a student, you're a teacher too. And I think I love that. I love that.
Yeah. And people, most people know when you teach something, anything in life, you learn, whatever it is, when you're teaching someone, you kind of in your mind, you're saying, oh, I never really realized that was that way as you're teaching it. And it's just a really interesting thing that happens. And so I'm super excited, to be involved in being a teacher, but also kind of being a bit of a student as well.
100%. Good point. And now, before we start our open class and talking about this email questions, I want to say something. This is I'm serious about my offer here, of course, but it's everybody knows that it's a little fun too. But I want to say this completely seriously. For the 5 first people who join our membership program, well, guess what? I have something very, very special for you, which is a signed copy of Set It and Forget It. I have the 5 books here. So when you sign on, if you're one of the first 5, you will get, I will mail you a Set It and Forget It, where I will write your name and a big thank you. But that's not it. That is not it, folks.
There's more.
If you're among the 3 first people, then I'll throw in Why We Don't Sleep too.
Wow, nice.
And it doesn't end there. If you're
Oh my
the
gosh.
the first person who joins our membership program, you will not only get Set It and Forget It, not only Set It and Forget It, and why we don't sleep, but also Sleep 101.
There it is.
Check that out.
The trifecta is perfect. It's awesome. Be the first one. Get it all. You'll just get so much. This is your opportunity right here. So hope you were sitting down during all that, because it's like there's such good stuff there, and it's just going to be great. So super, super excited. That's really nice and generous of you. Very
Oh,
much.
it's going to
Very
be
nice.
super fun. Love it. All right. Let's start our open class. So today you're kind of hosting here, Michael. Take it away.
Yep. Okay. I'll take it away. Here we go. Okay. So we are going to go with, okay. Got a couple emails. So first is, actually this came through a YouTube comment for a broadcast the other day. It's from Thea. Hey, Daniel, is always very helpful insight. Very devoted to natto philosophy. That's great. I'm more relaxed about my sleep issues lately, even though they aren't solved. But there's some doubts in my mind about my situation. Since lockdown in March, she's always been at home, and it's around that time that issues of sleep got progressively worse. It's very common. The lockdown really affected a lot of people. Since the lockdown, I haven't had the possibility to exercise or any activities I did before. I see my friends very rarely, spend most of my hours of the day on my bed doing nothing. I really think this lack of motivation is also caused by anxiety, which I've always been prone to all my life, and possibly the beginning of a spiral down the hole of depression, also present in my family history. Insomnia, not being able to go out, also due to the horrible weather, only made my mental illness worse. I just stay in my room all day and eat lots of junk food. Now, I think my insomnia is mostly based around anxiety. I also think that my impossibility to sleep through the night is due to lack of activity and bad diet. I'm in bed at 11, wake up at 11 p.m., wake up 11 a.m., even though I do spend hours awake with my eyes closed, not sleeping. When I wake up after my usual 4 hours of solid sleep, it's like my body isn't physically tired anymore. That's why it takes me a lot to fall back asleep. I know how sleep efforts can be bad, but I also think by now my insomnia is caused by my lifestyle, as if it was some sort of secondary consequence. I think I should somehow find the motivation to get back on track, find motivation again, even though it's very hard without anyone who really takes into consideration my mental condition and only thinks I'm at fault because I'm lazy. I am, but it's never this bad. The time I slept the best was when I was in high school, when I woke up really early, had plenty of people to talk to in a positive environment, and had lots of work and things to do. What do you think about it? Change of lifestyle is not meant to be a sleep effort. Sleep is not the only thing that is driving me towards change, but I think it could really help my insomnia too. Sorry if this is long and messy, but your opinion matters a lot. Hope you are well. Okay, thank you, Thea. That was there's a lot there, and Daniel, you want to go first on this, or do you want to?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Actually, it was so helpful when you were reading, Michael, because I was kind of taking notes and thinking.
Yeah.
So I want to start at the very top where Thea says, "I'm doing better," which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super happy. And I want to go through my two. I thought it was three, but at least the two things I always think about when somebody says that. Number one is you're doing better. That's in itself fantastic, perfect. But number two, you're sharing that. You're telling us about that, which kind of affirms it, makes it more real, which is really, really good. And I'm not going to stay long here, but just for a quick second, when you're doing better, meaning you're sleeping better, it always comes from a place of like trying less, being less pressured. And that just gives you the way forward. Like the less you try, the less pressured you are. You've already done it, but do it more and you'll do fantastic. Now, yes, like you said, Coach Michael, there were many things. And I think there was some really low hanging fruit for later on, but I want to stay on something else that I thought about first. When I saw this comment from Thea, which was the family history, which oftentimes you hear someone say, everyone in my family has trouble sleeping. Everyone has anxiety. Everyone has depression. And then that can, of course, lead you to a place where it feels like kind of hopeless. Like everyone has that. So, of course, I will also have that. But guess what? That is not the case. That is not the case. We know that insomnia comes from a place where there is kind of miseducation. You're thinking in ways about sleep that are not helpful. That is it. That's why you have trouble sleeping. And so you might say, why does everyone in my family also have trouble sleeping? Well, guess what? You are related. So if you have a tendency to think in this way, many other people in your family also have a tendency to think in that way. But that doesn't mean everyone in your family could sleep great if they also had access to good education, accountability, hopefulness, etc. So there's what I want to say here is that even if a lot of people in your family, for example, have insomnia, that doesn't predict anything about how you should or would sleep. It is not something that stands in your way. And I know this is actually not a big part of the comment, but I just wanted to really highlight that one, Thea. And by the way, before I let you speak, Coach Michael, I didn't know you were in Italy. So it's so funny. Like you read all these comments and you assume somebody's a native English speaker because I don't see any. So congrats on that. You definitely express yourself very, very well in written English. So with that said, over to you.
Yeah. I was surprised about that Italy reference too. Some of my family's from Italy as well. So, anyways, So what I would, Thea, what was coming to mind as I was reading through is, clearly taking care of yourself. I don't see that's not a sleep effort, right? That's just a general wellness, live healthy kind of thing. And the great thing is that you recognize that. You recognize there was a time when you were taking better care of yourself during the day and you were sleeping better. And I think there's clearly a relationship there. So the fact that you recognize it is the first step, and that's fantastic. So I'm super optimistic. You talk about like spending a lot of time in bed doing nothing. That's kind of a classic, CBTI kind of thing. Don't hang out in bed worrying or stressing or anything, just ruminate, be somewhere else. That's kind of just a real classic thing there. I think when you were talking about, let me jump back and there's a document. There was, go like this here. I'm running the show today, so bear with me here. Let's see. The lockdown. Yeah. Classic. I mean, so many people that's such an abrupt change to a routine that, it's no surprise that it made it a challenge. And when people when they struggle with sleep, they have I just call it a challenge, where it's a challenge of their thinking. They're changing their thinking, is difficult sometimes. And so that's a challenge. Some people change their thinking very easily. Some people change their behavior easily. Some people not so easy. So we all have kind of challenges that we have to work with. We are who we are. But the fact that you're recognizing this, absolutely, I think that's just a great acknowledgement, great recognition. And I have a feeling what to do. Live healthier during the day. Absolutely. You talk about your diet and then your sleep schedule and all that. So that was what was coming to my mind here as I was going through it. And the fact that you were sleeping better in high school when you were doing more during the day, you're up in a more consistent time, that you're really anchoring your sleep schedule. All that stuff was just in place because of your daytime life, what you had going on. And there's no reason that you can't change it towards that. With the lockdown, it might not be completely possible, but you can find ways, to interact socially, get outside and maybe get some sunlight. These kinds of things are very helpful for mood, and then also indirectly for sleep. So it might help you change, your thoughts about sleep when you're living more healthy during the day. So I guess that's what I would say. It's not a sleep effort to live healthfully during the day.
100%. Super. I had that one written down as well. And I think, just to finish off, comment a little bit more. I think 100%. And when I see like I'm in bed from like 11 p.m. to 11 a.m., like that is low hanging fruit. Of course, you're going to do so much better when you get up earlier, spend less time at home, like do things that are enjoyable and use your imagination. I know with the lockdown, it's tricky, but try as much as you can to do things you enjoy. And speaking of the lockdown, we have a couple of comments on that. So I want to do something I've been thinking of doing, but haven't never done. I need to know that there are 9 people live here. Please share with us in the comment section whether the lockdown has been hurting your sleep or perhaps helping your sleep. It would be great if you could share that in the comment section. Just bringing the audience in with us live. That I think could be really fun. Because check this out. Rajdeep said the lockdown affected me also. Lockdown was stupid. Well,
It's a tough one.
We talk a lot about why, of course, but check this out. And thanks so much for this comment, Radeep. The lockdown made me sleep more, says Luminous. Which I think is interesting, because I see that in clinic, and I talk to people too, that it can go two ways. So for some people, it's like, I have so much time on my hand, I go into my head, I become more anxious, I sleep less. And for some people, it's like, oh, I don't have all those stress, I don't have the pressure of work, etc., and I actually sleep more. So it's just interesting how it can go two ways.
Yeah, I agree.
And we have another. Okay, I just want to bring this one in quickly. Kim says, sitting down. You say no, lying down, because I didn't sleep again. Good morning, Dominic. Can't stay. I have an appointment today. Yes, please tune in later, Kim. And actually, I want to just quickly here. Kim brought up a good point the other day about natto. Natto is actually fermented soybean.
There you go.
A Japanese specialty. So he's asking me about that. So thanks for bringing that up, Kimberly. And yeah, it's natto is not natto. And we have to make it clear, nobody thinks we are proponents of fermented soybean here.
Just the opposite.
I think it's great, by the way. Maybe great.
Fermented soybean.
Pandra's friend says, the natto approach is also very helpful when it comes to panic attacks. For me, the simple approach of not doing anything to prevent 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And thanks for sharing this.
And not being afraid, not being, trying to prevent it in a way, like trying, you have to kind of accept things that happen. And that attitude really helps in so many areas, including with sleep. So the fact that you recognize that, perfect. That's great.
Here we have a comment here, as we asked for. Thanks so much, George. My sleep stayed pretty much similar during lockdown. A third thing here, like, it didn't really affect me that much. It's very important, because again, it's the same circumstance happening to, let's say, 3 different people. Radeep, Luminous, George Clifford. Same thing. The lockdown happened to all of us. One person slept less, one person got more sleep, one person no change. And what does this tell us? It's not the circumstance that's important. It's how we think about the circumstance.
Exactly. Absolutely. Right? Yep.
Super important.
Okay. Well, let's jump into the next message, which was an email, and go down here from Jenn. Thank you for all the content you provide in your channel. It has been very helpful. I've been dealing with sleep issues since early April after a very stressful event. Prior to that, I was an absolutely phenomenal sleeper. I had only had a very brief mild bout of insomnia for a couple of weeks, about 2 years prior to that, and it resolved completely. I freaked out back in April when I started having hypnic jerks and nights of sleeplessness. I, like many others, thought there was something seriously wrong with me. I was referred to a sleep physician who told me to take clonazepam and gave me a list of sleep hygiene tips. I implemented all the sleep hygiene tips, which did not help. I only took the meds occasionally, as I did not want to become dependent or have awful withdrawal symptoms. I also started working with a naturopathic physician who specializes in mental health. She is really great, and she herself used to suffer from anxiety and insomnia. She did, however, recommend supplements, and although well-intended, I do not think they help with the sleep issues. I do think the supplements for anxiety help, and also believe working with her on my anxiety in general has been a great help. My biggest breakthrough was when I watched Talking Insomnia number 27. I found Brian's story to be so similar to mine. It gave me so much hope. I also bought Set and Forget It. I found your natto video to be very helpful as well. So for about 8 weeks, my sleep improved tremendously. This did not involve any sleep restriction, just acceptance and not being all consumed or obsessed with sleep. I started having issues again 2 nights ago. I slept only about 1 hour last night. I was sleepy and went to bed, but sleep would not come. I did not get out of bed as I still felt sleepy. I tossed and turned all night. I'd get to a point where I felt like I'd drift off, and then I would get uncomfortable and had to adjust my sleeping position over and over all night long. I tried to accept what was happening and let it go, but troublesome thoughts of how awful I would feel today and what if this is a long stint of bad nights were still there in my mind. This morning, despite knowing that even though I feel awful and will get through the day, I can't help but wonder what tonight is going to be like and if I will get back to good sleep soon. My question is, what do you suggest people do when they find themselves back in the situation after having a good stint? I have all the knowledge and tools, but I still find myself a bit terrified. Thank you for your insights, Jenn. Okay, so Daniel, go ahead.
Very well. Jen, thank you so much for sending this email. And by the way, I think I forgot to say this often, but if you have a question for us for these episodes of the class, please send them here. Now, this has actually really become one of my favorite questions because I know exactly what I want to say, of course. So the question is, okay, started having a lot of trouble sleeping, started learning, very less, started sleeping better for a stretch of time, but now here I am again. I'm not sleeping. And by the way, this is one of the most common emails, one of the most common questions I get, which is completely understandable because I was doing well and then now this happened. And so the temptation, of course, here is to say, I was doing so well, but now this happened, which means I got to change something. I got to figure this one out. There's something different. Like, the invitation to go down that rabbit hole of exploring, experimenting, trying to figure it out is there. Like, it's kind of like your brain's baiting you. Like, there's a problem. You got to do something, right? But you don't want to go there. You definitely don't want to go there. Instead, you want to do this. You want to look back upon these 8 weeks when you slept better and try to, really, really, really realize, understand, fully internalize, comprehend why you slept so well. And you know why that was? That was because you became more willing to have insomnia. And there is no question about that, because if you imagine a person that is absolutely not willing to have any insomnia, they're not willing to lose 1 minute of sleep, that's unacceptable to them. They do anything they can to preserve every single minute of sleep, they're going to have tons of insomnia, right? The other person who's like, it's okay if I don't sleep that much, no pressure, they're going to sleep great. You, Jen, you became that second person. For 8 weeks, you were the person who were okay with having insomnia. You were willing to be awake at night. You were that person for 8 weeks. And now you're tempted to become the other person, right? Because you've slept little. But guess what? There's no mystery why you slept little. You became worried again, which is completely normal. You have been sensitized. You have had this experience, and you're a little bit, more. You have a tendency now to have more trouble sleeping when you're stressed. Completely normal. But so again, there's no mystery why this happened. It's because you became a little worried again. But what are you going to do? Exactly what you did for 8 weeks. You are going to be okay with having trouble sleeping. You're going to go, okay, what if I don't sleep tonight? You're going to go, that's okay. Maybe I won't sleep much tonight, but I will be all right. I will be tired and fatigued and it will feel terrible. Yes, but it's okay. I'm okay with having a great night's sleep, and I'm okay with not sleeping much at all. Then magic will happen, Jen. I have some more things, but that's really what I wanted to say there. So yeah, your turn.
Really good comments. Jen, when I read your story, a couple things came to mind. One is that you a setback after a long time sleeping well, it's completely normal. It's absolutely normal to hear that. It's common, it's normal. No surprise there at all. The key is reaction. You may or may not have a terrible day after a poor night of sleep. And I think this is what I was like thinking about this idea. And then I saw your email this morning. I thought, oh, this is it. When you ask a good sleeper, it's really interesting. I find when you ask a good sleeper, like, how'd you sleep last night? They usually know. They usually can be like, yeah, it's kind of normal or whatever, just usual. Then you ask them, how'd you sleep 2 nights ago? And you know what you usually find? They don't know. They just don't even know. They just like, I don't know. What they're trying to say is they don't think about things like that. So I encourage anyone struggling with insomnia to try to adopt that forgetfulness about prior nights. So, if someone asks you, how'd you sleep? Someone with insomnia, you ask them how they slept 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago or 4 nights ago or whatever. They often have a very a solid understanding of, they remember it. And how, forgetting how your nights go is actually really helpful. Trying to get involved in other things during the day, enjoying, being peaceful at night if you're awake, these kinds of things to lead to you to not like ingrain in your memory how any particular night has gone. It's that whole, we've talked about this idea in a lot of different ways, the analogies of like hiking and you stumble and this kind of stuff. It's all kind of the same idea, but I just I think I was talking to a client just a few days ago about this, and it kind of came up, and I was like, they were recalling their sleep nights, their nights in very detailed, I slept like, 4.37 hours this night. And then 3 nights ago, I slept 2.19 hours. And I mean, it was like hyper acknowledge, remembering it in details and all. And then I was thinking about it. Like, if someone asked me, how did I sleep 2 nights ago? I honestly have no idea. I have no idea what time I went to bed. I have a little bit of an idea what time I got up. I have no idea how well I slept. And I think that actually helps if you can kind of get to that point where you're not recalling your sleep. Then I think it's a way to kind of move forward with the whole thing.
Perfect. So many things that came to my mind here, but just to spin off what you just said, Michael. Yesterday we had this. I talked to Riley, who has been an open class student, and it's been doing so well. You heard it? You heard towards the end there. I almost wanted him to say, now I sleep 7 hours, something like that, because like that makes everybody feel excited.
But he didn't.
He didn't go there. He didn't go there.
Exactly.
He and that was even better, because it just shows how he doesn't know anymore. And he's happy.
Yeah. That's such a great answer, to hear, like, so how are you sleeping now? And you're waiting for a number and you don't get a number. It's not a number. It's a feeling, it's a feeling of how much effort are you applying at night to your sleep, and then how you feel during the day. It's kind of a combination of those. And I just really encourage people to try to forget your nights. It doesn't matter. You can't go back. You're just moving forward. Do whatever you can. And usually a helpful, strategy for that is to get involved in something during the day that kind of occupies your thinking a bit in a healthy, productive daytime way. I think that's helpful. So, but yeah, with Riley, that was really interesting that I remembered that at the end of that there.
And I'll say, Jenny, thank you so much for sending a question. Happy that I'm assuming it made sense to you because you're thinking, so I'm super happy about that. And we had some other people comment here. Donald says, I slept better through the lockdown, no pressure at work, but I sleep even better now. Yes, due to dedication. Yeah, that's perfect. Edda, the lockdown didn't impact my sleep.
Good.
Another example of that. Thanks, Edda. And Milena says, I don't even think of time anymore. I just go to sleep when I'm sleepy. I wake up at a decent time every day, but I don't count the hours. I don't count the hours anymore. There you have it.
Perfect. Well said, Milena. That's exactly right.
Timeless.
Timeless. Yes. My favorite night. Timeless.
The timeless night.
Absolutely. And I also like one more quick little comment. It's sort of on the same vein, but I'm going to kind of digress a little bit. One of my favorite things to remind anyone is that you are going to sleep, or at least you're going to have the opportunity to sleep every single night of your life. So there is no urgency to working on your sleep, or to changing your thinking, to like quote unquote working on your sleep. Some people they'll kind of just want to just think about stuff for a while, days, weeks, months, before they feel like, okay, I'm ready to change my thinking, try to, see if my sleep will improve. But there's no urgency to it. And so I just like to remind people of that. You're going to have the opportunity to sleep every single night. So it's not like tonight's the night. And, that's the last thing I would ever suggest to anyone after I first talk to them is tonight's going to be the best night of sleep you've ever had. That is the last thing I would ever suggest to anyone. You have to take a long-term approach to sleep. So I just like to throw that in there too.
100%. And Jenny says that's reassuring. Very, very happy it was. And you know what you just said? Actually, I thought about it yesterday when I talked to Riley, because he said this magical thing where he said, like, now the way I think about it is like, particularly if you're a type A person like me, he said, then guess what? Every day there is an invitation. At the end of the day, there's an invitation to accept that you don't have control.
To let go.
And like you say, there's no urgency. Every night, every day, you have that invitation. You have the invitation. You have the invitation. You'll get there.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, what else was it? I guess now it doesn't feel very important. Oh yeah, this is I just wrote down some things about Jenny's story. Very common one, of course.
Mhm.
Stressed in April, it had all this hyperinjection stuff. Went to her doctor and prescribed clonazepam and sleep hygiene. And here's the thing: I have all but empathy for doctors, because doctors were not given any information about insomnia whatsoever and don't know what to do. And all they know about is sleep hygiene and medications. So, but of course, that creates a lot of problems, because that's not the way. But just want to throw that one in there. And an important one. This is what I wrote down here. Jenny shared with us that she did great for 8 weeks without doing any sleep restriction, just education and acceptance approach. And I think, when it comes to behavior change, which is typically spend less time in bed, and education trumps everything. You can some here, check this out. In the beginning of my career, I was very much like sleep restriction, like just go to bed later, make yourself sleepy, sleep more, you'll do fine. And some people did, some people just were more sleepy. But the problem is, I realized in retrospect, I didn't educate on why they slept well. So next time they have trouble sleeping, they go like, oh, now I'm going to stay up late and make myself sleep again. They may end up having trouble. So between education and habit change, education is the more important.
Right. Exactly right. Etta asks, how long can a setback last? There's no real exact answer to that. Just understand that they happen, I guess, is the main thing. How long it can be short, it can be, a little bit extended, but, if you keeping the attitude about the night, keeping it that, that you're okay being awake at night, and just keeping that attitude going, things will turn around. But there's no way to say exactly when that will happen. So.
And yeah, I want to say, what you said, I thought that was super, super good. The other day, Michael, when we talked about the kind of like the pattern, and you said something to the fact that it's not like insomnia has a life of its own and it just happens. It is because if you have a pattern, then the night you don't sleep, it is because you happen to be hyper focused on sleep that night. So when it comes to setback, it's the same thing. It's not like it just comes out of nowhere. It's because the setback happens because you become worried. You start thinking about more sleep. You're less willing to have insomnia. So in a way, you have like indirectly full control of the setback. Meaning, when you start becoming like more accepting, you are more okay with being awake at night, then you don't have a setback. So that's number one pointer here. And the second one, how long will it last? Well, something else that helps is, of course, the less you wonder how long it lasts, the shorter it will be. The more you wonder how long it will last, the longer it will be.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. The setback can happen for any reason. You can just, maybe you ate something that didn't agree with you. Maybe it was just a short night. Maybe there was something happened and you had kind of a short night. That can happen. That's just life, right? Life happens. But when it goes on and on, that's where you are the main player. It's not like outside things are affecting that. So you have to just, kind of go back to your attitude towards sleep and attitude towards the night and go from there.
100%. We have more live comments here. George, the hardest part is when there's something very important coming up the next day. The best thing is just to carry on as normal. 100%. Can't agree more. I try to do what Melina does, but I get up roughly the same time. It does help. I'm super happy to hear this, George. Melina says, I accept that I have anxiety, and that's why sometimes I can't sleep. Again, it's just like, this is like gold. We're kind of gold mining here. Just like great comment.
Exactly right.
Same here, Melina. When I worry less, which is a lot easier said than done. True, but then it is much better.
Yeah.
Marina says, going off topic, I'm not going to name them here, but very popular doctors here online claim a certain herbal and drugs that help with insomnia, cure for insomnia. Irks me. It irks me a lot too.
Yeah. Snake oil, it's out there, and it's just, it's not, the solution to insomnia is not out there. It's in here. And that's what this school is all about. It's to help you with that, because that's what you're not going to find, searching around the internet for cures for insomnia. It is just the biggest rabbit hole that exists. And And
It is, but and I'm not going to say this. What I'm going to say now is not from a place of like I want somebody's empathy or pity or something like that. Of course not. I love this channel more than anything. But if I would go out there saying like, oh, this is really dangerous, buy this thing. This is really dangerous, buy this thing. That's how you get attention. You get money. You get views. It is much harder to sell education, which we're trying to do here. Like we give it for free, of course, but now I can't help but be like,
school is in the name, right?
Our school is open, so anybody who wants a little bit more, enroll with us. And I just want to say it here because I forgot it before. Anyone who is tuning in here and be like, okay, that sounds great. Your self-coaching program sounds great for me. Well, guess what? Head over to thesleepcoachschool.com, and where there is a free class you can check out. And that's also, of course, like if you want to join us, you can just register there. And this is not on the homepage yet, but I'm going to put it up later, maybe today or this weekend, that if you join us in our membership program and you find that it wasn't for you, then within the first 30 days, just let us know and we will, of course, fully refund you.
Yep. So we want you to be happy with our product. Absolutely.
Yeah, and you'll get the book.
So really get which way? That way. Get the books.
That's right.
Yeah. We want you to be completely happy. It's an educational product, and our goal is just to help people. There are just obviously a lot of people that struggle with sleep, and we think that there's a better way to approach it, and that's what we're trying to do with the school.
And we believe
thank you,
we will also get millions of followers one day. It will just take us 10 years instead of like 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
No urgency. Yeah, that's an important one. No urgency.
Great. All right. I think that's about it. Do you have anything else for today?
No, and you're hosting, so it's
I'm hosting. I'm the host. Oh my gosh. I keep reminding people I'm old, I'm just like, how do I do this technology? But this one, it's like pretty straightforward. My kids laugh at me. They're just like, Dad, why are you doing this? Anyway, so great. Thank you everyone for being here, and great questions, great comments, and check out the school. The self-coaching master program, it's now up and running, and there's the free class you can take. Encourage you to check that out first, of course. And we'll be on, I'll be on Monday answering some emails and taking some comments, and Daniel, you'll do your couple during the week, the insight and all your other ones that you're doing. Daniel's always on. Check it out.
I'm leaving with a cliffhanger here. Yesterday I woke up with this this roadmap, this kind of like step by. I think these are the steps. These are the 8 steps from like really having trouble to sleeping really well. I think it will be a really helpful one. So I'll leave it there. Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm gonna talk about that.
Awesome. I can't wait to see that. Okay, great. Thanks everybody. You guys have a great weekend wherever you are, and take care. And we'll see you back next week. See ya.